Hey mates, welcome to more MtMtE Eyes. I'm your host Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about Age of the Primes Airielbot AirRaid. And Airielbot AirRaid is an amazing transformer. At least most of him is amazing. The vehicle mode's pretty cool from the top, but from the bottom it definitely lacks. And today we're going to break down into it. We're going to get into it. We're going to tell you what it feels like in the hand, how it compares to Bumblebee, and we'll do more in-depth size comparisons and stuff for these guys whenever I have all the Airielbots together, because I intend to do a big Airielbot episode later this year when the other two arrive, so we can have all five together and we can really do some nice size comparisons and stuff. And I think that holding up a little bit for all that would just make that video more special. So I know I'm biting at the bit to talk about them and do some more fun size comparisons and stuff, but I'll be patient and wait for all of them to be released so that we can just have a big fun episode, because I like doing the big fun episodes. You can see plenty of episodes that go longer than 30 minutes on this channel, and you know how much I love doing the big stuff. So today we're doing something small, and it is this little Tomcat AirRaid. I'm pretty sure it's an F-14 Tomcat, but I may be wrong. And the F-16 was probably called the Tomcat, and the F-14 was the Hornet. Right. So this is a little Hornet, because I don't think this is the Tomcat. We got the little Hornet here. He's not too bad. He's tiny, and at least like when plane sizes go. But let's start from the nose and work our way back to the tail. So nose-wise on this guy, we've got some really good textures here. Nice little textures, small little details, like these little things on the sides of the cockpit. They feel like little guns or something. And then we have the air intakes that are appropriately sized for this size plane. Two little air intakes on either side. And of course, in like Starscream and stuff, those are much bigger, and they sit on either side of Starscream's head. But I think Starscream is an F-16. So yeah, this makes sense that it's smaller. The Hornet was smaller than the F-16. And we got these behind the cockpit. The cockpit's got some good feels to it. We got a cockpit. Yeah, it feels like a cockpit. And then behind we got that joint there, but they did manage to make the joint seem like it works for the cockpit. And that's another one of those instances where I appreciate the hinge being in a strategic location. This is a strategic hinge, and you can imagine it works more for opening the cockpit than actually for spinning the entire front of the plane. So that's cool. I appreciate that little detail there and how they managed to hide that in there. Behind the cockpit, we've got just a big old length of plane. There's a couple of dents in there for transformation stuff, but for the most part, it's smooth. We've got little lines in work and stuff for little panels all over the plane. And it feels smooth, it feels nice, except for, the panels, but those work. Like, this feels like I'm feeling a plane. And that's what I really appreciate about this. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel plasticky or glossy or something like that. It does feel like a plastic plane. And we're moving back here to the tail fins, which do really good. I like how they swoop back, and we get these nice hard lines and these points. It comes up like 45 degrees, and you get that little point at the top that kind of sticks out just a bit before it goes back and flares in the back. It's a nice little detail, and I really like that they included the little flaps. They etched out the flaps on the tail wings so that it can change its direction by just flapping those flaps. And then we have the small wings beside the tail wings. They stick out to the sides, not vertically like the top. I guess you would call those dorsal fins. But the small ones on the sides, decently textured. I really don't like the fact that there's a metal pin in there. I would like the ability to just take these off and switch them around for robot mode so that we can hide the waffling, but that's not the case with these side ones. This is another instance of, I really don't like it when they pin things in. I really appreciate it whenever they leave them where you can just kind of yank it out and flip it around and put it back in. That makes it a little more customizable, in my opinion. It makes it a little more fun, in my opinion. These metal pins just kind of hold everything up, and they're just annoying. So that's the top of them. Very smooth, very sleek, very plain. Definitely, they got the F-14 look down, and they stretched out the back end just a bit. It feels like it needs to be longer, but I'll take it. As a deluxe class, it's pretty good. Around here on the back, we do have the engines, two engines right there, perfectly sculpted out. and everything about the top of this plane is magical. This works out very well. But now for the dark side. Now let's flip the plane over, and let's look at the underside of the plane. And this is where we come across our problems. See, they couldn't figure out how to fold up these legs without ruining the look of the plane. Like these two leg sections here. And I wish that they could fold down more. So you could, and this is another instance of metal pins being used, and I don't like that. I would like the ability to just take these off. These two leg strips. We could, if I had the ability to just remove them so that we could display this guy in his jet mode, and I could actually like kind of hang him from the ceiling, and people could look on the underside of it and look more like a jet, that's better. Because when these lower leg chunks are folded back, we do have a really nice looking plane. Yeah, there's some robot leg parts there, and I think maybe you could 3D print something that covers this gap. But these little leg chunks just kind of ruin it, because you fold these guys back up, and the underside of him is no longer smooth and sleek. It's now smooth and sleek at the front. We get a little, we got some waffling underneath the cockpit area. Feels like that's where landing gear should have been. Instead, we got a landing gear piece that folds out of the chest right here because of these back legs, the chest piece. And so coming up from, we'll do it again from the nose back to the end. The nose on the underside, very nice. We get that little bit of waffling right below the cockpit, but that's a rectangular hole, and it feels like that should have been landing gear that popped out. Like that feels like it's the location landing gear belongs. It's exactly where you would expect landing gear to be. So that I understand that little hole. And then we come down here, we got the vents from his chest on either side down here, and they're all right. And then you get to this wall, like this just vertical wall of stuff that's folded up, and that does ruin the look of it. If you folded him down, he'd look really nice. It bothers me. It bothers me, these two leg chunks. They bother the crap out of me. The underside of the wings, they're waffled, and we've got the gun that's into the port, and yeah, that's just about it to talk about. Waffling on the underside of the tail wings too, and it's like, why did you need to waffle these? It's such a little bit of plastic. I just don't get why they were waffled. I don't think they should have been. So let's talk about its grade real quick. As vehicles go, this one's pretty much a dud. This one's getting a C- in my opinion. It's great at the top, but it definitely loses a lot on the underside. And these leg chunks never want to clip in. You got this piece that just likes to fold out the back. Vehicle-wise, I'm never really going to keep this guy in vehicle mode because I don't like this vehicle mode. The top of it's nice, but the bottom of it is sinister, and that's kind of sad. It really could have been a lot better, but that was the same case with Silverbolt. The vehicle mode looks really good until you get to the underside of it, and you got that huge chunk of stuff. And that's something I wish they had figured out a way to get around. If they had found a way to hide this stuff a little bit better and make it more like a vehicle, a transformer that transforms into an actual vehicle, that would have been really cool. But that's my thoughts on him. Let's do one little comparison. We'll do the bigger comparisons later in the year when we get all the Airielbots together. But here's the little size comparison of the Bumblebee from '86. We're going to pick that wing up so we can get Bumblebee parked right next to him. And yeah. Bumblebee stretches from the back of his engine, so we'll put bumper to bumper on the rear, and then the end of Bumblebee's nose goes to the end of this, to the end of the chest panel, where this landing gear comes out. So the entire front of the plane past the landing gear is not, is longer than Bumblebee. There we go. Nice little comparison. We can actually close that wing down. We can set Bumblebee on top of the plane. The plane is a little bit wider than Bumblebee, and definitely the wings are wider than Bumblebee. And if you fold up the wings, you can kind of cradle Bumblebee between his wings. And I do like the wings folding up because these were used on aircraft carriers. So folding the wings up just kind of works for an aircraft carrier, so you can kind of store them off to the side with the wings folded up. Nice little transformer. The robot mode, definitely the best part about him. His transformation's okay. C- for the vehicle mode. So I'm going to give him a C+ overall ranking as a transformer. He is definitely not the best Airielbot, and he doesn't rank up there with Dragstrip and just being awesome. So he's all right. Next time we're going to cover something else, but next time on this channel, the next video you see uploaded will be a review of the Rattler, and I intend to do a big size comparison because I like doing the big size comparisons. So tune in then, and thank you so much for watching today's video or listening to it if you, in my case, are blind. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.